And welcome back to Love Your Food. This week we've got a pretty simple one for you. It's this Caesar salad, and we're also going to show you how to make those croutons that you see there. I'd also like to remind everyone that we have an affiliate link with Chef's Temp, so if you need a kitchen thermometer or meat probe, please check out the link in the description below, and if you use code LOVEYOURFOOD on checkout, you can get 15% off your order. We also have a Patreon if you'd like to support us there. But meanwhile, let's get started with our recipe, and here are the ingredients. We have some romaine lettuce. We've actually got some baby romaine here. Some garlic, an egg, actually just an egg yolk, some bread, this is for the crouton, some olive oil, a little bit of Dijon mustard, some anchovy paste, now that's optional, some grana padano cheese or parmesan, and some lemon juice. And we're going to start off by chopping our garlic. Now, we're not going to use a whole lot of garlic in the actual dressing itself. But what we're going to do is grind up this garlic. Essentially, we're going to make it into a paste. You can see here we're going to chop it very, very finely. And this is going to be the main flavoring for the croutons. Now, they're not going to be, there's not going to be a whole lot of actual garlic in the dressing itself. You can see we're just going to add a little bit of salt, add a little bit of olive oil there. That's probably a little too much, but it's fine. We're just trying to make this into a nice paste. And we're going to make our sort of, for lack of a better word, the marinade for the bread. We're going to make that in this bowl with the garlic, the olive oil, a little tiny bit of vinegar. We're using a little bit of red wine vinegar there. We're just going to whisk that together until it's all nicely combined. And we're not going to leave that garlic, the pieces of garlic in the bowl. We're going to add enough oil so that it's basically pourable. So we're just going to keep adding that. We want a pretty loose mixture because this is going to coat the bread that we're going to then put into the oven to make our croutons. Now, what we are going to do is not wash out this bowl when it's done. So there's going to be that sort of strong essence of garlic left in the bowl once we finish with the croutons, and we're going to make the dressing, the Caesar dressing, in that bowl, and it's going to pick up, I promise, it's going to pick up that garlic very strongly. It's going to definitely be present when everything's done. So meanwhile, we're going to cut our bread. Now, we're using this this challah bread. And it's a little bit stale, but it's quite a sweet bread. It's got sugar in it, so it maintains its moisture quite well. And we're not going to dry this out completely. We kind of like it for it to be crispy on the outside and still a little bit fluffy on the inside. So we're going to get this nice and sort of toasty, but it's not going to be like super dried out like you'd expect a crouton to be. All right, so we're going to drizzle that oil and garlic mixture on. And then that's all going to go back into the bowl. And we're going to sort of toss it together so that everything gets well coated. And you want to make sure you get all that nice garlic oil on top of your bread. And you can just give that a good mix. Make sure that it's all well coated and that there's a little bit of that garlic oil and bits of garlic on every piece of that bread. And we're going to make sure that we sort of squeegee it out of the bowl with the bread itself to make sure we get all of that goodness out of the bowl. Now, there's still going to be enough garlic and oil in there to impart that sort of garlicky aroma to the dressing. Don't worry. We're going to put a little bit of the grana padano cheese on here. Again, you could use parmesan as well. And this is just to give it that nice sort of cheesy, toasty aroma. You could also add herbs to these. You can add a little bit of basil, some oregano, a tiny bit of rosemary would be fine. Those are all perfectly fine for your croutons. We just wanted ours to be pretty basic garlic croutons. So we're going to put that in the oven. We took it out a couple times just to see where it's at. You can see it's starting to get a little bit of color. This is a great time to stir it. Make sure that it's all moving around a little bit, that it all gets even heat. So we're going to get a scraper and just move that around a little bit and stir it around. Make sure it gets different sides down and all that sort of thing. And then it's going to go back into the oven. And then we're going to take that out. Now, this is about where we want it. Like I said, we're not drying these out all the way as you might expect for croutons. They're still a little bit fluffy in the middle, so that's exactly where we wanted it. Now, to get ready for the dressing, we're going to grate a bunch more of that grana padano cheese. And then we've got an egg yolk. We separate the egg. So we've got an egg yolk. There's the lemon juice. A little bit of that Dijon mustard is coming next. And the way that you make a Caesar dressing is very similar to how you make mayonnaise. In fact, a lot of recipes start with mayonnaise. But what we're doing is we're just going to start this from scratch. This is a from scratch Caesar dressing. So we've got the egg yolk, we've got the Dijon mustard, we've got the lemon juice. And you can use less lemon juice than that. We used an awful lot, actually, but we do love that flavor. Here's the anchovy paste. This is a totally optional part of this recipe. It gives it a kind of richness and a little umami burst in there. But number one, it's not always easy to find anchovy paste. And number two, a lot of people don't like the aroma of it. We love it. We think it's great. So we're definitely going to add it in here. But it's completely optional. So now what we're going to do is we're going to slowly drizzle in our oil into the egg yolk and lemon juice mixture. And that's going to emulsify. Now this is what makes it a lot like mayonnaise, is we're trying to emulsify that oil into the egg yolk. And you can see it gets really thick quite quickly as you're stirring it in. So you want to really gently drizzle in a very slow stream of that oil into your egg yolk. And all of those other ingredients, the mustard, the anchovy paste, those are going to sort of help the egg yolk emulsify with the oil, and you get that nice thick sort of dressing that's going to stay this way basically for much longer than if it was just stirred together or shaken in a bottle or something. We're going to add in that cheese that we grated just a little while ago and give that a nice whisk to make sure it's all well combined. A little bit of black pepper. And you definitely want to taste this before you add salt, because the anchovy paste is quite salty, the cheese is quite salty. You want to make sure that you're adjusting your flavors after you've tasted it. So this is obviously way more dressing than we need for one salad. This will keep in the fridge for probably up to a week, maybe even a week and a half, and it will stay emulsified. If it doesn't, you can just whisk it again and it should sort of come back the way it was. Now we're just going to leave enough in our bowl here for a couple of salads. And the rest, that's just going to go into a container and into the fridge. So we're going to toss in our romaine leaves. Now, traditionally, this is sort of a romaine wedge salad. So you would have adult romaine, like fully grown romaine leaves. We've got this nice baby romaine. You want to go through it and make sure you're taking out any bits that are wilted or a little bit brown around the edges. You want it to be, nice salad. And we're just going to very gently sort of toss that in the dressing. And it's going to look really clumpy at first, but if you just gently keep going and keep it moving, it will all spread to each other. All the little leaves will get coated, and you'll get that nice coating of Caesar dressing everywhere in your salad. Now we're going to toss that with a little bit more of that black pepper. Give it a nice little toss, and after that, it's ready to serve. So we've already finished with our croutons. Those are just sitting there cooling. They're ready to go. So we're going to get our salad together. You're just going to, nicely pile that on some plates. This is going with another thing. We're going to add a little bit of this fleur de sel, nice big flaky salt. It gives it a nice little sort of salty burst and a nice texture too. That flaky salt, fleur de sel. You should look it up. It's really, really excellent. And then we're going to toss this with our top this with our croutons and a little bit more of that grana padano cheese. It's a really, really excellent salad. This is a classic. Now, we used a lot of lemon juice, so it's got that nice tartness to it as well. And that's it. That's the whole thing. It does take a little bit of work when you're doing the emulsification because you do want to go slowly. You want to make sure that you're doing a really slow stream of that oil in there. And that's it. So we hope you'll give this one a try. If you like this recipe, please do like and subscribe. And if you have any recipes you'd like to see Chef Caleb try on the channel, please let us know in the comments below. We'd like to thank our patrons over on Patreon for supporting us. If you'd like to support us, I'll put a link in the description below. And remember to love your food.